Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and hit the like, hit the subscribe button. It's Christmas Day after all when you're watching this video, so give me a present, give me a subscriber. Anyway, this deck take, there's been a few come up today as you've probably seen, but these are because, as I said in some of my earlier videos, I decided that I'd ask my moderators on my stream what decks they would like me to cover, or what legendary creatures they'd like me to try and build decks around, and then as a little present I'm doing a quick YouTube video for them. So this is for ZachofRivia. This is the card that they picked, and their card is Nicol Bolas the Ravager. 1 blue, black and red for a 4/4 legendary creature Elder Dragon. Flying. When Nicol Bolas the Ravager enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. And then 4 and blue, black, red, exile Nicol Bolas Ravager, then return him to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control, activate only as a sorcery, and then obviously it becomes Nicol Bolas as they first become a planeswalker. So +2, draw 2 cards, -3, deal 10 damage to target creature or planeswalker. -4, put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And -12, exile all but the bottom card of target player's library. So basically you kill them off quite happily with a -12. But Zach wanted me to build this deck, and Zach also built it. And I know he was thinking about it and he's gone down more of a controlling route. I've gone down more the route of each opponent discards a card, because I like building discard decks and this is fun. So here's my take on Nicol Bolas for Zach's little Christmas present. So, land-wise, the usual selection of blue, black, and red lands. I've got Fabled Passage and Field of the Dead in as well, because we might as well get some zombies out where we can. 3 of each basic, just to keep things going. And then obviously Reliquary Towers in, and Temple of the False Gods in, and Xander's Lounge. I went and picked one up especially for this deck, so hey, there we go. I've also chucked in Herbal Tomb of Yawgmoth, because we do have quite a bit of black mana requirements in here. I did Uminar over Cabal Coffers, but I decided against it in the end, because we do have other colours in the deck, and yes, okay, it's nice to get a load of black mana, but when you've got spells that need double red in some cases, or double blue, it seems a little bit, I don't know, weird to do it, so I didn't. But anyway, the rest of the ramp I went really heavy on it, because we want Nicol Bolas in play, and then idealistically what do we want to be doing is having 11 mana from my point of view available on the turn we play Nicol Bolas, so we can play them and transform them there and then. So we get the discard effect, let the discard effect resolve, pay the 7 mana, transform them into the planeswalker to really start going off. So I went heavy on my mana ramp in this deck. Might be a little bit too heavy, but we'll see. So Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Charcoal Diamond, Fire Diamond, Mindstone, Sky Diamond, Fort Vessel, the Celestus, and Thran Dynamo. Whew, that was a lot of words to take in then. I think between that should give us enough early ramp that we can get there and start hitting this quite early to get the flip transformation on the go. Now the rest of it, there's a few little things I've put in just because it's fun and it's traditional from my point of view. So we'll go through the rest of the deck now. So Dark Ritual, I'll get to why, I promise. The quest for the Nilstone is quite interesting. When an opponent discards a card, you put a quest counter on it, and at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand and Quest of the Stone has 2 or more counters on it, you may have that player lose 5 life. So it gives you a way to start pinging them eventually. It takes a little bit of time, but we do get there. Reanimate. We're going to, hopefully they're going to be discarding big creatures. We can just go nick them and pay the mana for them, pay our life for them. And then Elixir of Immortality, so we can shuffle all the stuff back into our library and start again if needed. 2 drops. I've got a few of the shrines in here. I've included Goshen Tide, Lost Wisdom, because we want the mill effect. A little bit for the reanimate, but there. And then we've got things that make life difficult when opponents discard a card. So we've got Liliana's Caress is the first one, along with Megrim, because Megrim's a traditional one, and Liliana's Caress was the updated one that costs 1 less mana for exactly the same effect, basically. But the effect of Liliana is actually better because it's life loss. Megrim's damage. I have no idea why they changed it over the course of a year, but they did. So anyway, we've got them both in. that's there. Sanctum of Stone Fans is in because I want some more shrines. You know, we like a little bit of shrines. Waste Not's in. Let's make them discard stuff and get a benefit from them. Now, there's not a lot of discarding happening in our turn. I realise that. Well, there is some discarding happening in our turn, so we might get a few things. But yeah, I figured Waste Not was a good gamble for this deck. The biggest new card, Theros Beyond, brings us Croxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. Bit of a no-brainer in this deck. Comes into play for 2 mana, they discard something, and that's great. But if they can't discard when we escape it later on, they lose 3 life. So, you know, bonuses all around there. The last couple of bits I'll just pick up from on the 2-drops. Swiftfoot Boots, just so we got something to protect Nicol Bolas if we do need to play it earlier and we haven't got the mana to flip it there and then. Hence why that's here. Megrim I've mentioned. Abyssal Spectre. Whenever an opponent discards a card, Abyssal Nocturna, gets +2/+2 and gains fear. 3 mana, turn 1, thank you very much. However, the traditional Swamp Dark Ritual Hypnotic Spectre. Now, I played this when this was a thing in Standard, and I've included it here just to, you know, remind me how old I am compared to Zach. So I expect Zach's laughing at this bit. But I wanted it in anyway, and it's hippie at the end of the day, and you've got to have a hippie in your discard deck, so there you go. Liliana Heretical Healers here as well, mainly because if we can get her to flip, we get a +2, each player discards a card. Hopefully by which stage we'll have Megrim, Liliana's Caress, or the other one that's coming up, the Raider's Wake. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll have one of them in place so we can start getting some damage off that as well. And at the end of the day, the -6 isn't bad. But we've got a flipper first, and a 2/3 lifelink for 3 mana is not the end of the world, so yay. Needle Spectre's also in. I put this in because it deals combat damage to players, and it does the whole, they discard that many cards. Yes, it's only going to discard 1. But it's a 1/1 with Flying and Wither, which could help in some situations. Hence why it's a Honda of Infinite Rage, just deal some damage to back up the Hondas we've already talked about. Wheel of Fortune. Had to include this. If you've got Megrim in play, and you Wheel of Fortune, and your opponent's got 5 cards in hand, that's 10 damage for 3 mana and a whole load of new cards for you. Obviously, we'll shuffle ours back in with Elixir of Immortality. Our opponents may not be that lucky, but yeah, it's fun. Okay, Cedrus Spectre's in as well. Deals combat damage to a player. That player discards a card. So, you know, more advanced version of Hypnotic. And it's got Unearth. So, you know, you can smack in for that 3 if you need to. Celestus is in. Mainly for the colour fixing. But, you know, we can flip in between day and night if we need to draw some cards and dig a little bit. Sanctum of Calm Waters is also here. Another way of going down the route of let's get some cards in our hands so we can make our opponents discard. Goshen Tie of Hidden Cruelty I decided to include just because we want to destroy the smaller creatures. I mean, we've got a few shrines in, so it's worth keeping this going in. Hondan of Night's Reach is the main shrine though. We want to hit the discarding. This and a couple of shrines means your opponents are basically empty-handed in a few turns. It's not particularly difficult to do, and with Raider's Wake causing him to lose life, and then if you get an attack in, that opponent discards target opponent discards a card. So you could hit someone for say 4 in the air with Nicol Bolas, and then get someone else to discard a card and take some damage. So, you know, hence why Liliana Waker of the Dead here as well. She hits the discard button quite happily. Rancor, Master of Pranks. I decided to go back to Eldraine and drop this in as well. Deals combat damage for a player, choose any number. Each player discards a card, each player loses a life and draws a card, each player sacrifices a creature. You're going to be doing the first 2 bullet points quite often, I think. The last one, not so much, because you haven't got that many creatures. We're only playing 20 in the deck, so we don't really want to be sacking our creatures if we can avoid it. I mean, if we've got a whole load of zombies, go for it, but otherwise avoid it. Little bit of card draw next with Big Score and Unexpected Windfall. Discard cards, draw 2, get a couple of treasures. I'm not quite sure why one costs 4 mana, 2 red and 2, and the other one costs 3 and 1, but yeah, that's the way it went. Gwendolyn de Courcy, I decided to play because it's a traditional one from many years ago. And I quite like the fact that you can just target a player, discards a card at random. Yeah, okay, we can do that. Upset your opponents. Solemn Sims in, obviously, ramp, card draw, you name it, it does it. Thran Dynamo I talked about earlier. Hundred of Seeing Winds could be coming out, actually. No, we're taking that out while I'm thinking about it. We don't want that in. We want in this. I think we do anyway. See? Trying to do nice videos. And I still make a mess of it. I think I am very tempted to take out Honden of the Winds, but no, we'll leave it in. We'll find something else to take out. Basically, I want to add in Blasphemous Axe. I forgot about it. That needs to come in. We'll take out something. There's going to be something that's no good coming up, I'm sure. Temple Manipulation is probably the card we'll take out, actually. There you go. Right, there you go. Problem solved. Anyway, right. Banshee of the Dread Choir's in as well. It's got Mirroded, so when you get damage in, you get to them discard cards. That's really nice. Helps with the Megrim damage. Junai the Midnight Sky. When it dies, each opponent discards 2 and loses 2 life. Megrim and Liliana's Crest makes that 6 or more, depending how many versions of it you've got in play. I had to play the original Liliana Vess in here just to do the discard as well. And in minor state's pretty good. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. We have got another version of that coming up, so that was pretty cool, I thought, to have that in. Necrogolf, just so we can gain a nice big creature. Equals, this came from Modern Horizons 2. There we go. And at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player discards a card, and you can madness it. So if someone hits you with discard and you've got some spare mana, you can get this in. But yeah, power equals all the number of creature cards in graveyards is pretty cool. I've also chucked in Take Red from Kaldheim. Menace, whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent, you may put that card in from your graveyard, from that graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Thank you very much. I like that plan with the amount of discarding we're doing. And also, we could play out as Take Red's Lantern if we need to. Right, Balor. Attacks or dies, choose one or more. Each mode must target a different player. Thank you very much. We'll get one opponent to discard 3. One of them can sack a non-token artifact, and the other one, whoever's got the most cards in hand, can take the damage. So yeah, Battle seems like a good plan to me. The other version, Nicol Bolas, start hitting here. This is the 5 mana one, God Dragon. Draw a card, each opponent exiles a card, destroy target creature or permanent. Each opponent who doesn't control a legendary creature or planeswalker loses the game. Yep, okay, we'll go with that. Shark Typhoon. We have quite a lot of spells and things that aren't creatures in this deck, so it made sense to have Shark Typhoon in just to get the sharks in the air, so let's do that. The Haunt of Hightower is also something else I was quite interested in playing this deck. Because we are trying to really go down the discarding route, this is going to get quite big quickly. And with the lifelink ability and the +1/+1 counters coming into play, it should be quite good. Crossis the Purger came in as well from back in the day in Invasion Block. There we go, I just remembered. Flying 6/6, that's fine. Cope with that. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you may pay black and 2. If you do choose the colour, then that player reveals their hand as discards all cards of that colour. This is very painful if it hits someone playing a monocolour deck. Even a dual colour deck can make people wince quite a bit. It gets a bit more tricky if you're playing against someone with 3 or 4 colours or 5 colours. But 2 or 3 colours, this will be a purge. And it's probably worth chucking the Swiftfoot boots on it if you've got 3 spare mana the turn you play it. So there you go. Right, we have got a couple of extra turn spells that I've kept in the deck. Old One's Epiphany, because we can foretell it, and when we play it, if we've got Shark Typhoon in play, that's a 6/6 shark along with the 2 birdie tokens and an extra turn, so you're going to hit someone for 8 at a minimum. Temple Mastery, because why not? We need a bit of a miracle. It's Christmas, so we'll have this one. Herald of Anguish, mainly because it does a discard. Each opponent discards at the beginning of our end steps. That's quite nice from my point of view. There's not really much we can improvise with because all our artifacts do tap for mana. The exception being Elixir of Immortality and Solemn Simulacrum. So, it's possible we can use the improvise, but most of the time we'll just be casting it the normal way. Dragon Mage is the flying version of Wheel of Fortune. Get everyone to discard their hand, draw 7. Yep, so, Megrim, Liana's Crest, wherever the other one is, Raider's Wake, there you go. It seems to work quite nicely. Next version, Nicol Bolas, is the God Pharaoh. exiling cards, you know, exiling stuff from the top of the library, get to cast something from their land, from their library is always good. The -12, exile each non-land permanent your opponents control. It's probably going to be you winning the game at that stage, so yeah. Also, because I like a little bit of nostalgia, Cruel Ultimatum. Target opponent sacrifices a creature, discards 3 cards, then loses 5 life. You return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand, draw 3 cards, and gain 5 life. Thank you very much. Nicol Bolas Planeswalkers in as well. Destroy target non-permanent, gain control of target creature, and then -9 deals 7 damage to target creature, player or planeswalker. That player or that planeswalker's controller discards 7 cards and sacrifices 7 permanents. It's going to be the +3. You're going to be doing a lot with this just to take out things that get annoying. You saw me chuck in the Blasphemous Act a minute ago, which should be over here to get the thingy right. And then we've got Rise of the Dark Realms. Hopefully, there's a lot of creature decks kicking around in Commander at the moment in the games we play. Getting up to 9 mana and casting this and getting all those creatures back on your side of the board. Win. The final one, just to make sure we don't have any real problems, Commit to Memory. We can use it as a target spell counter. That's fine. Or we can use the memory side of it and go, each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library, then draws 7 cards. Now, realistically, you don't want to be doing this if you've managed to made them discard a load of useful stuff. However, there are times when this is a necessary evil and let them shuffle it all back in. Bear it in mind. Okay, Zach, well, that's it. We've got to the end of the deck take. This is my take on it. I hope everyone else who's watched it has enjoyed it. I hope, Zach, you've enjoyed watching this for your breakfast on Christmas Day and you're having a good day so far. And I'll be back streaming on probably the 1st of January. I think the things are looking pretty good for the first day of the year. So we'll be back then. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out. There's a load of videos coming up during this week. I've got videos going up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, watch them. Let me know what you think of them during the course of the week. I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching the video. Zach, enjoy the rest of Christmas. Bye.